Welcome to Miss Valley Entertainment News. My name is Dread. And this is, excuse me, this is not a video I want to be reviewing. It's not a video I want to be reporting on. I honestly didn't expect this to happen. Perhaps I'm a little naive. Maybe I should have. Let's get into what's going on with Creature Commandos from James Gunn in the DC Universe, the animated show that first two episodes came out.
Is riding on James Gunn's DC Universe. Not just the future of DC on film, but arguably the entire future of the comic book movie genre, as Marvel no longer have the creatives they once did to maintain their success.
Definitely not.
James Gunn used to be among those very creatives, but he famously started working for the competition. But alas, that competition is not off to a great start, as the very first installment of James Gunn's DC Universe, the animated Creature Commandos, begun by taking a page from the reviled Disney Plus series She-Hulk and attack.
That's never a good thing. Right off the bat, taking a page from She-Hulk, never a good thing.
The animated Creature Commandos, begun by taking a page from the reviled Disney Plus series She-Hulk and attack its own audience right out the gate.
Why? Why do directors and developers of games, directors of TV shows and movies, actors and actresses, why do they shoot themselves in the foot? What is it about them that they are so incredibly full of themselves and believe that they're so incredibly right and anybody else has to be wrong, that they have the need to point the finger at others and attack them or try to preach to them? Why? Why is this? By the way, this video by Midnight's Edge will be linked down below if you want to watch it without my commentary.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Let's dive in.
Yeah, that's not what I wanted to hear about this show. I was excited for this show. I was legit excited for this show. And that's not what I wanted to hear about it.
I have long maintained that James Gunn's DC Universe, for all intents and purposes, is the Peacemaker cinematic universe. Peacemaker, of course, is James Gunn's previous DC series, which itself was the follow-up to James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, his first project for the then DC Extended Universe. James Gunn's animated Creature Commandos, in turn, is the direct continuation of James Gunn's Peacemaker, building on the events from James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. And
incidentally, The Suicide Squad, love that movie. I didn't think it was a cinematic masterpiece worthy of an Oscar, but I love the movie. It was entertaining as fuck. Excuse my French. For those of you who are French, excuse my Italian. I don't know, whatever. As for Peacemaker, I watched the first season. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I realized that it was poking fun at the right. But that's what the Peacemaker character does. So it was staying true to the character. In the same way, Judge Dredd, who I might be named for, Judge Dredd, the character who comes from comics and animated stuff there in the good old UK, Judge Dredd does the same kind of thing. He hands out justice on behalf of blah 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 blah, and he does the same thing. He makes fun of the right. Both of these, I believe, characters were probably created by people leaning left to make fun of the right, but they become something more because people on the right latch onto them because we love them. And we're okay sometimes with a little humor about ourselves as well, depending where it comes from.
And retroactively, Creature Commandos is the first installment of James Gunn's DC Universe. I say retroactively because Gunn actually wrote it as a stopgap between Season 1 and Season 2 of Peacemaker, before he was given control of all things DC, and incidentally, that is when he also started writing his Superman movie, before ever being handed the keys to the DC Kingdom. Once those keys were given to him though, he simply continued what he already had in motion, by green-lighting the already written Creature Commandos while he finished up writing his Superman and Peacemaker Season 2. And all three of them will be connected by Frank Grillo's Rick Flag Sr., who is introduced in animated form in Creature Commandos. And thus, Creature Commandos retroactively became the first installment of James Gunn's brand new DC universe, even though it was written for the post-Snyderverse of the now defunct DC Extended Universe. I know opinions on James Gunn doing it this way are severely mixed, to say it at least, but personally, I don't mind because I'm a big fan of Peacemaker.
Either way.
Seriously, I hold it up there with Daredevil Season 1 as one of the best comic book TV series ever created, but opinions are obviously divided on the topic. What they are less divided about though is that Creature Commandos is hardly a flying start for the new DC universe. Not so much because of the rest of the events in the 2 out of 7 episodes released thus far, but because they pulled a She-Hulk and started attacking the fans right after the opening credits ended.
Again, not what I want to hear. I want to watch these episodes, which I have not watched yet. And I want to enjoy all 7 of them. I believe there's 7. All 7 of the episodes, and I want to enjoy it. Then you got to go and insert yourself into it. Then you got to go and preach into it. Then you've got to go and make fun. Then you got to go in and divide. And you got to be that guy, James Gunn.
In the very first episode. In the beginning of the first episode, we're given an exposition dump, as we learn that the apparent villain of the series is Cersei, a rogue Amazonian and reputed sorcerer determined to conquer the nation of Pokolistan, and after that, Themyscira. Helping her are her simps and loyal minions, the sons of Themyscira, and these guys are what gives off the She-Hulk vibes. Remember how in She-Hulk, the ultimate villain of the series were the showrunner's interpretation and visualization of toxic fans? There was even a Doomcock knockoff in there, and the She-Hulk cast and crew high-fived each other in the entertainment media press at the time, arguing that the real fans acted just like their fictionalized toxic fans.
Wow, She-Hulk is a direct, unapologetic attack on toxic Marvel fanboys. Wow, toxic here equaling anyone who doesn't agree with me.
Even though in reality, nothing could be further from the truth. Their so-called predictions were way off base, so was the fan response, but of course, no one in the entertainment media checked them on this. Still, they appeared to have a lot of mean-spirited fun at the fans' expense, but it didn't work out too well for them in the end. She-Hulk was reportedly set up for more seasons, yet there has been no talk of any further seasons actually happening, and
maybe that's because you insult all your fans.
Most recently, She-Hulk was even removed from the Marvel banner on Disney+, replaced by Deadpool, which certainly doesn't reflect well on the character's future in the MCU, so why anyone would emulate anything from She-Hulk is beyond me, but here we are. To be fair,
and as bad as apparently the She-Hulk dialogue and plot and everything else was, the actress behind it, when she opens her mouth not in character, is even worse. No, it's not because she's a woman, and no, it's not because she's whatever ethnicity she may be. It's because she's an asshole.
Compared to James Gunn though, he might not actually have made any conscious effort to emulate She-Hulk. No, chances are that like the rest of Hollywood, he was in a bubble where the fans, or at the very least the online active contingent of them, are seen as toxic. So attacking them used to be a good way of signaling virtue, as well as collecting "I'm down with the message" brownie points in the industry.
And this is why I say, if you're a gaming fan right now, if you're a gamer, and you are putting away your wallet and putting your back up against some of the games that are coming out and some of the comments being made by those putting out those games and some of the things they're inserting into the games, your actions will not see a turnaround in this industry for years, because the games that are coming out next month, next summer, next year, the year after, have already been being made for the last couple of years. So you're not changing the industry now. You're changing the industry in the future, and you're going to have to lump it and live with it for the next couple of years. Because things don't change that fast. They've already been baking and developing. Apparently, same thing in the television and probably movie industry as well. Yeah, they wrote it a long time ago, then they filmed it, and then they got the press release, and hey, everybody come watch it, and then they put it out, and it has to come out over all these weeks, and yada, 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 yada. And they're working on more and more and more and more shows and more this and more that and more scripts and all this stuff, and they're all doing it the same way. So the shock that you don't like it when they're like, what? They don't like it, but the next 15 things we have coming out are exactly like it. Oh, God. Gamer fans, television fans, movie fans, if you're sick of this shit, please don't give up, but be aware. Nothing changes like that. You may change the industry. You may have people going back and saying, hey, as we start our next game, we better be aware of this and not do that. But you won't see that game for 3 years, or you won't see that TV show or movie for 3 or 4 years. So be aware. It's a long road back to respectability for all these things, these people, these companies, these industries. It's a long road. And you have to stay firm during that time, or you won't ever see the changes.
That, then, is most likely how the Sons of Themyscira came to be reimagined in the image of Hollywood's view of toxic fans.
Who are these guys?
Indeed, in James Gunn's creature Commandos, they act like total dude bros, complain about women and how women have cooler stuff, and go under aliases like critical skeptical facts over feelings.
What?
A name which references a number of prominent YouTubers and commentators right there, and no soy boy. But since the creators can only create what they know, these Sons of Themyscira guys do appear to have a lot of soy in their diet, because there's a lot of estrogen there. Anyway, the problem with this is...
So they're attacking me. They're attacking you. They're attacking the people you watch online because they don't have another way to shut those people up. So they're doing it this way. They're attacking them. They're pointing the finger at them. They're degrading them. They're denigrating them. They're putting them down. They're calling them toxic. They're pointing their fingers squarely at them and saying, this is a problem. We need to police the internet immediately. Because yeah, when they were policing Twitter and didn't let anybody on the right on it or say anything, that was really good for society, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. No, it really wasn't. But you can't teach these people anything in a short amount of time. You can't do it. They're not that smart. And they're definitely too stubborn. And they're definitely stuck in a little echo chamber. They have no idea what's going on in the world. Though they may be starting to get an idea. Just starting to.
Is that up until just a few weeks ago, until the landslide victory of Team Trump, to be more specific, Hollywood genuinely thought that they were making fun of a very loud but very small minority of toxic fans, and that what they perceived as the majority of good, obedient, soy-drinking Kamala supporters would be there and laugh at these horrid toxic fans right alongside the producers. The reason Hollywood was so shell-shocked by this election result, then, is the realization that what they thought was a small minority it was cool to pick on is, in fact, the majority of their audience.
Yeah.
As we've covered before, Grace Randolph was the bellwether to this insight.
People have said, you're in an echo chamber. We hear that all the time. And everyone's like, you're in an echo chamber. And now we're like, wait a minute, I think I might actually be in an echo chamber. Like, I think that is very much the case, but here's where that's, I think, the most important. Sure, we're all in these bubbles, but how big are the bubbles? We had assumed that the Democratic progressive echo chamber was the bigger one. Oh, no, sir. I believe the conservative Republican echo chamber is bigger.
All right, I got something to say. I definitely have something to say. You know, let's be serious here, okay? Just for a minute. If you don't get this, I can't explain it to you any better than this. But those on the left, and no, not everybody on the political left, but the majority of people on the political left have joined in on this, have joined in on trashing those on the right. And this is not a new thing. This has been an ongoing issue for 30 years. And by the way, for those who want to call me a Trump lover and say I'm a Nazi, I'm Canadian. So our politics are a little bit more low-key, a little bit, although they're getting pretty bad, but they're not much different overall than the US of A. We tend to follow that. Not that we follow what you're doing, but our politicians tend to fall in line with doing what your politicians do, just on a lesser scale. So I do understand this from my own country, as well as watching yours and countries around the world. This has been a 30-year attack that this has gone on. That it's been a concerted attack on conservative values, conservative people. It's been denigrate them, point the finger at them, mock them, push them down, step on their necks, and keep them down. And now maybe people on the left have woken up to the fact that after taking that for 30 years, the right is rising up and saying no more. And surprise, the right is like 65 to 70% of people. We were just never organized before. So thank you, left, for organizing the right. That's very, very nice of you. And now we're going to push back against everything you say because we don't agree with any of it. And we're sick of the way you've treated us. The left has been bullying the right for 30 fucking years, okay? That can't go on anymore. And James Gunn, I'm calling you out. I wanted this show to be good. I love animated shows. And I love the premise of what you pitched this on. However, you never pitched it as a left attack on right. You better go back to the drawing board, buddy, because I, and hopefully a lot of other people, are going to refuse now to watch this. And I was on board, James. I was on board with your Creature Commandos. I was going to line up to be the one to pump yeah, Creature Commandos is great. Now, fuck you. I'm not watching it. I'm not putting up with any more attacks on the right. It's not happening. I'm not going to lay down and take it. This Canadian's pissed off, James. And don't you point the finger at me, James, because your little bubble is getting smaller. And over here on the right, our bubble is getting bigger. You're lucky we're not nearly as cruel as you are. However, we're going to stand up and say no more. No more of this shit. And that means that when a show attacks the right, like you're doing here with your show, I ain't gonna watch it. I ain't gonna support it. Doesn't matter if I wanted to see it or not. I turn my back on it. Done. This is what 30 years of oppression from the left has created for the right. And we're not going to put up with it anymore. We're just not. You've created an unequal society where you're the bully. And it's been like two bullies bullying 8 kids or something, 7 kids. I don't know. My math's not real good. It's been like 3 bullies bullying 7 kids, 7 other kids. And then those 7 kids stand up and say no more. You're outnumbered, and your opposition's a little pissed off now. It took a long time to rile us up. It took 30 effing years to do it. I don't know what's going to happen to North America in the future. I really don't know. But I know the rest of the world is not like this. Not to this degree. But North America cannot take the way it was going. There's going to be a correction or a collision. One of the two. The choice is up to you. The choice is up to me. It's in all of our hands right now. And I am dead serious on the fact I won't support anything that tries to divide people again. I'm not doing it. If you're trying to divide left and right, if you're trying to divide male and female, if you're trying to divide black and white, gay and straight, whatever you're doing, I'm not putting up with it. I'm not. I'm not supporting it. I'm not watching it. I'm not getting involved with it. It's not getting my money. No. 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 I'm not going to be complacent anymore. I'm standing up and I'm taking a stand. So, Creature Commandos, I'm Xing you out. And I'm sad about that because the rest of the show may be fun as hell. But I'm not supporting this man and what he's doing. For Miss Valley Entertainment News, my name is Dredd. Thank you so much. Good night.